Welcome to the Tarin It Up podcast. I'm your host, Tarin. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow.
Got it.
All right. Well, it's been less than 3 weeks, so that's cool. I think.
We're doing it. We're doing it, Peter.
I'm pretty sure it's been just 2 weeks or so. So last time I talked to you was also, we were both on headphones, so it's nice now we're both stationary. I think that you sounded great. My headphones were a little like muffly, I feel like, but so I'm glad to be back set up with my hand dandy mic.
Yeah, buddy.
If it even works. I do have a little bit, I came back with like a little bit of a coldish, snuffly nose and
Man, I feel
cough.
like you've been going through the ringer with all of your stuff and things.
So
I think the last time we talked, it was your finger.
Yes. Yeah. So my finger, and then luckily this didn't like take me out, but I just might have a few moments where I have to grab water, have a cough, hopefully not blow my nose too much. But so I went to Vegas and Bend, and so that was last week.
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. We drove to Vegas from Tahoe, me, Andrew, and his brother to meet up with his mom, dad, and like a couple of aunts from Michigan for his aunt's 60th birthday. It was just like too much to fly at one point. And yeah, it just seemed easier to drive, but he ended up we were planning on leaving on a Friday.
Yeah.
Like super early and like getting there, like it's an 8-hour drive. So like hoping to leave at like 5 and like, be there by noon, whatever. And he ended up having to work, but he got off at like 11 or something. We're like, whatever, like it is what it is. So that morning I'm like, cool, I'll take the dogs for a walk, get some steps in before a long drive, and get the dogs out moving before they're like kind of cooped up. And we're just walking through the meadow, beautiful fall day. I'm taking pictures like, oh my God, like look at the fall. Cause like I said in the last episode too, like I used to hate the fall and now I've come to really appreciate the changing colors. So take a picture, post it like, oh, what a beautiful fucking day. And like literally a minute later, like I feel this like sting and I look down, there's a bee on the back of my leg. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And I like hit it off me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm feeling all these other like stings like all over my legs. I'm like, what the fuck? And I like look in the back of my legs and there's just bees all over the back of my legs. And I'm like screaming and running and swatting them off, like yelling like, ow, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yes.
And I had I never walk with like a beverage because I never end up drinking it because I have to stop to drink anything, otherwise I spill it all over myself. So I have a little
girl.
Yeah. But I was feeling like a real leisure, enjoyable walk. So I brought my fucking coffee and thermos, and I'm like,
I'm sorry I'm laughing.
thinking about chucking my thermos into the meadow so I can continue to run and scream. But I'm like, how long? I won't come back for it, like for like a week. And I'm just like, how long do I run? Like, how long are they gonna chase me? How many are there? Like, what the fuck is going on? And they finally are like all off of me, but it like still feel it. Like it felt like the stingers were in me or something. My like pants and socks were like rubbing against it and my leg.
They do that. If they're real bees, their stinger will break off in you or like.
Right. You know? Yeah. So I don't know. I've been stung by a bee like a couple of times and like a single bee. I haven't been like attacked by a hive.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck do I do? Like, I mean, there's nothing I can do. I'm out in the fucking meadow. I'm like, well, I have to go home. I'm on my way home. I have like more than a mile still to go in my like treacherous hill. And so I'm just like walking along and just thinking and wondering like, well, how many times did I get stung? Because my whole legs are just like stinging and in pain. And I'm like trying to walk and I'm like limping along. Like my ankles are all fucking hurt. And then yeah, I just keep going home. If I stop a couple times, start wondering like, well, it feels like I've been stung like 10 to 15, like 20 times. Like, could I have an allergic reaction to like this many stings? So I'm going
Yeah,
over all these scenarios in my head. I had been texting
totally.
Hillary that morning, so I'm like, well, she's the only one who fucking knows I'm out in this meadow. And
Mhm.
like, and she's in a pretty much a different like country. So
Yes.
just like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Thinking about texting my neighbor to see like if they're home, like planning to like get to limp to the road and get a ride to the hospital. I'm like, okay, as soon as I get home, I'll just rip off my pants, take some Benadryl. But I didn't want to be all bennied up for the long drive and show up to Vegas just like an exhausted zombie.
Yeah.
I didn't end up taking any until like that night, but I got home and then I was just hustling to get things ready to go
Yeah.
and just in pain, like driving into town. I stopped and like got Benadryl, took some ibuprofen and stuff, and then I hopped in the shower. And when I took a shower, like the pain went away. Um,
Yeah.
but then I was so swollen. I mean, like I couldn't, I didn't feel like there was any definition from my calf to my foot, like for like almost a week. My foot was like busting out of my Birkenstock, and of course, then we're driving for 8 hours, and then to Vegas, let alone. So just 2.5 days filled of like walking and drinking. So that did not help the inflammation.
Yeah. Or the healing process.
Yeah, so I was still pretty swollen when I showed up in Bend, like that Monday afternoon. Uh, and the pain, like I was worried the next day that the pain would like be come back or something. But and I never got like incredibly itchy. Like I'd feel it itch and I'd start to scratch
Oh,
it, and that's when it would like, feel good. But nothing was like breaking open like mosquito bites really do or anything. So the itching wasn't terrible, and the pain uh, at the ends of the evenings my foot would start to hurt. But granted, the ends of my evenings were like 2 a.m. So there was, I think it
damn
was
girl.
Saturday night. We're walking around and I'm like, Andrew, I have to go. Like, I gotta go lay down. I gotta go to bed. My foot fucking hurts, and it would start to get to the point in the day, like if I sat down, even just for like a little bit or stopped moving, it would feel really stiff. And
Mm.
I'd have to like walk a little bit and it would loosen back up. But yeah, if I stopped for even just a little bit, I'd like limp for a while and then it would loosen up again. But like throughout the day wasn't super painful or anything, but fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my God. Like, yeah, show up and Bend for this dealer summit from a running company. So everyone else there was like owners of other retail shops across the nation. And they're all like mostly run specialty stores. If they weren't that, like the people themselves were runners. And
Mm-hmm.
here I am, like swollen ass leg, broken finger, and like just got off a plane from Vegas, like drinking like for 2.5 days straight. I just felt like I do not belong here right now. But it was good. We didn't have to do any runs. I did the
Yeah.
mountain bike ride that they had planned.
Nice.
Yeah, that I mean, my finger was pretty sore after, but it was a guided mountain bike ride, so I kind of figured it would be like tame. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is like the advanced group," but like the trail was not technical whatsoever. I did eat shit absolutely. I'm probably the only one and
Ooh.
everybody was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? That was so bad." I'm like, "No, trust me, I'm fine." Like,
Yeah, this is my life.
yes.
This has
I
been
this
my
is
life lately.
yeah. This is
Shit, dude.
this was normal for me, and I don't want to really use this as an excuse because I think I would have eaten shit no matter what somewhere,
Yeah.
but because we were in such a big group too, and most of the people, like there was only like 3 or 4 people who mountain bike at all. So the pace was pretty slow.
Mhm.
And for some of the things, like you need a little speed.
Yes.
So especially like a little rocky dismount, just decline that I was going down where I
Mhm.
ate shit, because like the rock kind of flattened out and I just like stalled on it because I had no speed and my
Yeah.
back tire just came up over the top and because it was already going downhill, like there was no good catching myself. Like I
Mhm.
said, I could have easily eaten shit like doing something else and probably would have, but yeah, it got a little bit hard trying to like give the person in front of me space so that
Yes.
I could get
That
some
sounds
speed.
like not fun.
No. And that's why like I was a guide long enough in other areas that I know and like kind of get it that it's like yeah, it's not unless you're like really in an extreme fucking place like
Yeah.
if you're doing anything guided, it's 5 times like dumbed down
Yes.
than they say that it is. So yeah, it was
Because
fine, it
you
was
kind of
fun.
have to go at your like weakest links
Yeah.
level.
And like so we'd get as
I
kind of
shouldn't
at
have
the
said weakest link, but like
yeah,
most, I
less
don't know.
advanced, I don't know.
Yes,
Like
there we go.
so
Most novice.
yeah.
I
I
think
was
that would be the politically correct
it was towards
way to
kind of
go
like the
about that.
front of the pack. Like I said, it wasn't even about a speed thing. We weren't like separating because the guide was keeping a pace that we were all staying together. But then yeah, I'd give the person in front of me some space because it was dusty as fuck too. And but I felt like the person behind me would be like right behind me, and I'm like we gotta give some space. For one, I'm eating dust, and two, like if I
Yeah.
want to get some speed into a feature, then like that speed I need to get through it, I like you need a lot of fucking space so you can get the speed to go through and maintain the speed. And so eventually I just like went towards the back of the pack, but also like I didn't know how long the ride was, and I was like, fuck, I'm like, I don't want to be in the towards the front and feel like I'm like pedaling my ass off and all these runners are
Mhm.
in great shape like behind
Yes.
me. So I just hung towards the back and towards the last like single track section. I actually just like went very last and the guide was like I pulled over. I was like, I'm gonna wait, like if that's all right, and give them a little space so I can like get some speed. She's like, yeah, no problem. I was wondering why you were in the back. I'm like, yeah, like so then there's some people behind us. We hop back on the trail and then she was like, hey, pull over again. Like this is a really good section. Like you'll wanna give them some space so you can like shred it. And I'm like, cool, yeah, thanks. Like, I'm really not shredding anything right now because I haven't ridden a bike in a month and I've just
Yeah.
not been biking well this year at all,
Yes.
anyways. But yeah, I did get to go a little bit faster than I would have being in the line of people. So that was nice to like end it off with. And just to be on my bike for or a bike for a couple hours.
Yeah. 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 I was gonna say it. What is going on with your hand, your finger? Where are we at? How
So
were you able to ride a mountain bike?
so I went to the doctor the day before we went to Vegas and did another x-ray, which and that was only like a 2 week difference or something from the first one, so there wasn't much of a difference that he could see, but he could see some early healing. um but he didn't like mention surgery at all. But in the first appointment anyways, when I asked if I could wait till that second appointment before I decided on surgery, he pretty much sounded like he didn't want to do it unless I was gonna would have committed to it right off the bat. So
Mhm.
he was like, yeah, it looks like there's some early healing. And I'm like, yeah, see, what the fuck ever. I don't need no surgery. And he told me I could start just buddy taping it. So I had it like buddy taped most of the weekend. And then when I
Let
went
me see
biking,
it.
it's still swollen and it looks
Oh,
crooked.
damn. Yeah.
He said it's gonna be swollen for a while because I mean it's still fucking broken.
Yeah.
But
Can you bend it at all?
yeah, so he told me to start buddy taping it so I could start to get some movement in it because like fingers just stiffen
Circulation.
a lot. So yeah. And yeah, I was just able to hold the handlebar without fully gripping it with that finger, surprisingly. My forearms were fucking burnt though after like
Yeah.
5 miles. Like I could barely break just because my fucking forearms were so
Yeah.
bad. I was like, oh my god,
Atrophy, man.
my grip is awful. And
Yeah.
also like my grip's been really good the last couple years from summers anyways because of carrying like loads of paddle boards like multiple
Shit,
times a
man.
day or every day. Like even just carrying my paddleboard today, I was like, "Ooh, I feel it in my grip." Like,
Yeah.
God damn, it's crazy.
Yeah,
So
that is all the tiny muscles that you don't
yeah,
even know that you're using.
I gotta start
Are you gonna have to
experiencing.
do some like finger PT?
So he told me he referred it, and they actually called me a couple times, but it was when I was gone, and um like they called me Friday night, of course, like at the end of the day. I'm like, cool, I can't even call you back until Monday. And then when they called me when I was in Bend a couple times, but like I was in a thing. So I haven't called them back yet because I don't even know if my insurance will cover that. And I'm just kind of like, it's a finger. Like I can maybe look some exercises up. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I wanna go and yeah, like pay for it, and I just have a lot to figure out about my insurance anyway, so I'm nervous to
Yes.
like put anything else like on it. I really need to change it. Um
Yeah.
so yeah. And then I came home, like I said, with like a little bit of a sniffle and cold. I worked one day, then I had like the weekend off and then worked from home. So I was lucky that I didn't have to go straight into trying to like work or have sick days. But now it's just at that lingering cold stage where it's like the annoying, like random sniffle or cough. Uh-oh.
I'm back.
Okay. That's probably, I think it might be me.
It's been happening a few times, but I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying. But
Did you
I've like
hear it
missed.
though?
No.
Okay, so real quick, I think I might turn my hotspot on and switch my internet because I think it works better that way. So
Please hold.
yeah, hopefully I don't lose you.
Oh, don't lose me. I don't want to be
Oh,
lost.
looks like it was
Dude, our air
English.
quality index sucks balls right now. It's 192 and it's freaking me out.
Yeah, so I had a layover in SeaTac on my way home from Bend, and just looking out
Ha,
the windows there, I was like, "Oh my God!"
hilarious.
Text my dad, like, "Looks pretty hazy." In Bend, there the first couple mornings it was like smoky,
Yeah.
but then it wasn't too bad, and it like dissipated in the afternoons. But yeah, my dad's been texting me telling me it's not been good.
Dude, there's so many fires. Yeah, there's currently a major fire southwest of Bend. And all that smoke's coming up here. There's another fire to the west, like in Packwood. And then there's some in the Central Cascades and in the Northern Cascades, like east of Mount Vernon.
Are
It
they
ain't pretty.
are there like evacuations in those areas, or were they like in pretty like wilderness areas?
I'm not certain. I haven't been keeping up, but like based on like looking at the map, I would assume, because I mean, at Snoqualmie, the air quality index is 257.
Wow.
Oh, that's so freaky, man. It's
Yeah,
so
and it's been
freaky.
relatively like nice there still though, right? Like the
Yeah.
weather. Yeah, I mean like if there wasn't smoke, there would be a lot of activities outside to do.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes. It hasn't started raining here. We're not in like the depths of the rain clouds yet. But even not having rain around here for so long, I'm like, oh my God, we need rain so bad.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, it's
need
supposed
rain so bad.
the weather's supposed to turn Saturday here because it's been like 70s, mid to low 70s still, even like a
Yeah.
couple days in the high, but I think tomorrow's like a high of 70, and then Saturday it's like 48 and rain.
Dang.
And then it stays like in the high 40s and into like mid 50s or something for
That's a
like a
quick
week.
drop.
Yeah.
My buddy in Montana said it's going to start snowing over there. It's hitting. It's a
Yeah, so
coming.
there's snow in the forecast for you guys too. I think in like
Oh,
in up in the high Cascades.
yeah.
We have it in the forecast here Saturday. I'm not sure like what the snow level is, but the low is like 16 degrees or something. So,
Shit.
um yeah, and then there's a
Gonna be your
snowflake
first
on like,
taste of the that chill in the RV and
well, when my friends got married in June, it snowed on and we spent the night here, but uh the last few days we haven't been able to turn the heat on because our goal zero's been like low on battery, so we haven't wanted to turn the heat on and like have it die because the RV and the fifth wheel is totally dead.
yes.
So if the goal zero shuts off, like there's just no power. So we haven't had the heat on, but it hasn't been that cold. Like
Yes.
it's been like, I don't know. Maybe it's got, I think that the temperature says like on my phone that it's like in the 30s or like 27, 28 degrees, but it does not feel like that. Like I wake up and
Yeah.
go outside and I'm like in a sweatshirt and shorts and I'm fine. So
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
coming though, man. Are you ready for winter?
Not at all.
Yeah, neither here. We're doing like the finishing touches of painting our house. We've got to hang some gutters. Um, and yeah.
I'm ready for it to cool down, that's for sure. Because just like I think I've said this before at work, at our new store downtown, the sun just beats into the window because like one whole side is windows and it just gets fucking hot in there. You're
Yeah.
just standing in there. It's so fucking annoying. The sun is just melting you that I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I just want the sun to stop beating on me at work, but that's the only thing. I'm not ready for the moisture really
Yeah.
yet. Not in our living situation anyway. I got a little perturbed about it because of the goal zero situation because our generator needs to be fixed. We need to get a new battery. I'm like we gotta stop fucking around. We
Yes.
cannot be putting anything off anymore. It is the latter half of October, like snow's in the forecast. It can turn really quickly. Like we got to build something to cover this fifth wheel so that the snow doesn't come directly on it, and we got to get our generator going, which the part we need should be here tomorrow. So there's that. But I'm like, fuck, we're in for it.
Yeah.
But it's a couple months, a few
Yeah.
months,
Uh,
4 to 5 months.
yeah. And
It's a
very,
fucking
very
year.
cold, very, very cold times. But hey, man, you learn things as you do them sometimes, and that's just how we are as people.
Yeah, we've got it, like I've said before too, like way better than our other friends that live up here, in the fact like they have friends too right down the road that they spend a lot of time with at their house and stuff, but having Andrew's parents is like way different because you don't ever feel like you're a burden.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's times that I feel a little bit bad of like when we show up once a week to do like 4 loads of laundry
Yeah.
and take water from them weekly, but if we didn't have them, we'd be spending a lot more money on it and I'd spend 8 hours at a fucking laundromat.
Yeah.
um so yeah, we have it pretty easy, and I'm sure I'll spend more nights than Andrew just down at their house.
Yeah.
Just because I'm at a state of life where I'm like, well, I don't have to put myself through this.
Yes.
Like, why
Yes.
not? Like, take
Yeah.
advantage of what I have, and like, I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody that I'm some like, you know,
Mountain
badass
woman.
mountain lady. Like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. There's a bed and a fireplace right here.
Yeah.
Sure. Like,
Yeah.
I ain't
Oh,
got
running hot water. Yes, please.
yeah, I ain't got nothing to fucking prove. Like, I've been
Uh-huh.
there and done that. Like no, no, no. Uh,
Yeah.
so we'll see. We gotta hopefully try and get some stuff done this weekend. We need to find a tractor.
Ooh.
That's
Like for keeps.
yeah.
Yeah. What are you
Pretty.
guys?
I mean, we've talked about like trying to rent one, but I don't know how anyone that like rents one for months as big as we need and that cost feels like it would be pretty much like buying where it's like,
what would be super sweet if you could find this ideally? Let's put this out into the universe.
yes.
If someone needs to store a tractor at your property and you guys could just be like, we'll store it if you let us do the things on it. And
Yeah,
they were
that's
like,
pretty
sure.
yeah, our friends across the way, another friend stores their like mini excavator there.
Mhm.
But yeah, the and so our neighbor pal here, he came across one for sale and he asked Andrew like, "Hey, do you want to go in on this because we share the same road?" Um
Yeah.
so like and they just have a small guy, so like it would benefit us both to have a big guy for the road, the actual road maintenance. But
Yeah.
then the guy ended up not wanting to sell it. But I think if Andrew found one, then he might put that out there too of like, hey, I found one, like, do you want to go in on it? And
Yeah.
so I don't know, we'll see. I don't even know what's out there. I don't know exactly what we need or what the price range like is, but it's gonna be crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it's so weird. Like I'm really excited for it to snow. I want the ground to be covered. I want to start like walking around on skis and snowmobiling
Yeah.
and shit. But except we're just not like living situation ready for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But so with that smoke though, I was just thinking I was gonna ask you how Quincy's doing with school, and it reminded me that you mentioned before we recorded that you had to pick him up today.
Yeah. He had a headache and no fever. He's had a bit of a cough for a while. And I know that all this smoke, because the smoke has been around for like weeks now. I want to say we're probably going on like 3, maybe 4 weeks now of like present haze. It's
Man,
freaking me out, man. And I do
that's
not, it's scary. It's very scary.
it is. And that's how we were the last year, like all of August and then the year before as well. Um, it just like weeks fucking straight, and you're just like, oh my god, when's it ever gonna end? And then yeah, it's just so unhealthy. You can't get away from it
You
because it
cannot get away from it. Like, yeah,
unless
you
you
can
live in
have
a
HEPA filters. Yeah, you could put KN95s on and you could do the like the double respirator or
yeah,
filter
yeah,
thing. I don't know what those ones are called, but
it's just a
yes,
respirator.
you can take these precautions, but like I don't know, plants aren't getting any water. Like crops are gonna like be affected because of this if this continues to happen, like
Well, yeah,
all
also
of that
affects like
repercussions.
solar power ability.
Yes, yes.
Like
Yeah.
when I came home from Washington in September and we were in the thick of like some pretty heavy smoke, our AQIs were upwards of 300 to 500 every day.
Yeah.
We couldn't fucking charge our generator because there was no sun.
Yeah.
And so there's so many things that run on solar now, like businesses and like large scale operations that
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I'm sure they have backup power options, but it's just like so crazy to think about. We're trying to move into more sustainable energy ways and things like that, but not there's not one good option because like solar is great, but
You have all these
certain times of the
repercussions from
year,
other
yeah,
effects of climate change, like
yeah,
wildfires blocking out the fucking sun.
yeah.
That's
So it
like,
just blows my mind to me that they
man,
there's like a I don't know if it's a bill or something in place for by 2030 or 2035 you are not going to be able to buy a gasoline car in California.
holy
And
cow.
it's like okay, power cars like cool in many ways,
Yeah, and they are improving vastly.
but we don't know how we're getting rid of those batteries,
Yeah.
and also
And
how the fuck are we
producing
supposed to
them.
charge them
Yeah.
like when our grid gets shut down all the time because of wildfires or like snowstorms. Like,
Yes.
our grid cannot how handle everyone having a fucking electric car.
Yeah. Did you
Uh,
hear that there were recalls on the Rivians?
no,
Yes,
I've
there
been
were
seeing those around a lot here. They've grown on me a little bit,
yeah. Yeah.
but like just the look at first, I was like, ew, so ugly. And I'm like, oh, they're not like terrible. I mean, I don't want one, but so what was the recall?
Something with the front end. I didn't read it thoroughly, and I have I have a friend who has one, and I haven't been. We just haven't had a chance to hang out and talk about it. But I saw that there was something wrong with the front end, and all Rivians are recalled.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's a huge uh
see what I can Google
that's
real.
crazy. Similar, like not similar, but similar. Um, so we ride Polaris snowmobiles, and there was a recall for them for like a fuel pump, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and it turned out not to be like just last year's. It was like from like fucking years and years of recalls of it. But they, I don't know, not as a big deal. I feel like as like the Rivian, like anyone who has a Rivian, I'm sure is like taking this in. But I
yeah,
think a lot of the snowmobilers are. It's like a part, instead that maybe they could get shipped instead of like here's the whole vehicle.
yes.
Um, so that's
And also, like, oh man, if I mean, I understand that, like, with living through life, there's trial and error, and like, if you're not failing, you're not trying. But I was like, oh my God, if say that was like my thing that I put out into the world, and I had to be like, ugh, just kidding, there's something wrong. But also with all the moving, the ins and outs of things, how could something not go wrong?
yeah,
And it's going to be like this major trial and error thing for a long time. I mean, like hybrid cars have been around for a while, like
yeah.
Priuses, you know.
Hmm.
And Toyota has actually done a really good job, I think. I've really liked their like hybrid cars. I mean, I haven't had one personally, but I think they've done really well with making hybrid cars. But yeah, the electric cars, I don't trust that power source.
Same, because like I said, especially living in California where like this year was the best year in years. Granted, hopefully, that's also why I'm kind of ready for the weather to change so that it's like, yes,
Yeah.
we are out of the woods for fire season because we're not quite.
Yeah.
There's definitely still possibilities. Um, but if we can get cooler weather and moisture coming, then it's like, okay, phew, like we made it. But so we didn't have any power shutoffs this year. But like that's just this year. We have no idea what's going to continue to happen, and the lack of water
Yeah.
and just everything where I'm just like, it just seems like a big move to make. So I can't really say I'm like for or against it because it's still like 10 years out or so if it's 2035, but it's a lot could change in those ways for the good and the bad.
Mhm.
um it just seems like I said, a bold move to make when there's so much uncertainty that
Yeah. And
upon
so
this,
much happening
yeah,
due
that it's just
to
like,
fossil fuel driven climate change.
yeah. So
Like that's really what it is. It's insane.
the dealer summit I went to in Bend, it was put on by one company, but it was all about sustainability. So the company themselves like talked about what they're doing in for sustainability, what their efforts are, moving forward, and like with their products, with their manufacturing and all this stuff. But it was really, really interesting because I really don't know that much about, you know, the ins and outs of sustainability. It's like been a buzzword, especially for like I feel like the outdoor industry, and you see it
Yeah.
everywhere where like when you buy something online, you can like spend an extra dollar to offset your carbon footprint from shipping. And you're like, how is this company buying offsets? And
Yes.
you see at the base consumer level, you see, I feel like there's a lot of talk about the packaging and people taking plastics out of their packaging and using less of this or that. but that is like the like most minimal thing you could do, and most of it lies within the actual manufacturing process and then like the shipping and stuff like that. And we heard from some organizations in Bend. We went to a farm that talked about like, just organic farming and how much that has to do with sustainability, like in general. It was really cool that the brand did not keep it all about themselves. I'm like, hey, look at us, this is what we're doing, support only us. They like really really taught us like where problems lie, not just in our industry but like in our world in general. And getting to talk to like one of the organizations that was in Bend was like, kind of can't remember the name, but you learn about just recycling in general. I mean, she was saying shit that people like didn't even know about recycling, about how I remember when I learned this when I moved to Tahoe, like you have to rinse all your food containers out to even make it to the recycle place. Like if there's food debris on it, it won't be accepted. And certain places only recycle certain numbers, like ones and fives or something. You can't recycle any other kind of plastic or whatnot. And so a lot of people were learning that, like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like, I have a blue bin and I just toss fucking anything that has the recycle thing on it in there, or compostable things. Like, nope, not really. Actually, that's not how it works. And we're not like, that's not talked about. And it's so weird that, like, why isn't that information actually given out more to the communities? Like, a lot of people could be doing better if they just knew.
1000%.
So it was really cool, like learned a lot, but then it's just so fucking, God, so hard for us to all do it, because like of course the conversation as well comes up with like shopping at like Costco's or big grocery stores or whatnot. But there really is the cost, and I brought that up. I was like, oh, because we had a phone call with the like one of REI's like head sustainability guys. And I was like, I know he's not going to be able to answer this, but I was like, are you making any um like moves or steps to like figure out how we can make this industry more inclusive to different demographics as far as like income levels? Because a part of sustainability and product is like you're spending a lot more money on producing this product with less effect on the environment, thus you have to charge more for the product, thus we are still shutting out majority of like communities and whatnot. So it's like, if we want everyone to be able to participate in being more sustainable, we have to make sustainability more accessible. It's not, because the cost of those sustainable quote unquote goods is significantly higher. Like I, compared to many people, can, afford a lot more. But like when I look at this grocery cart versus like this one, I'm like, I need more food for this amount of money. So how, I can't make all the right choices I want to because of finances. And how many other people in this country, in this world,
fire off, sis.
in the same situation.
Hitting all the spots.
So yeah, that was pretty much out of his wheelhouse to answer. But as I'm sitting in this room of like 20 people or 25 people, pretty much every single person is white, and like there was a mix of males and females for sure. But still it's just like I'm not in any kind of high horse of like inclusivity really, but it's just like, made me question, like, here I am, a white fucking woman who's been raised in the middle class my whole life, but I come from a very diverse community, and I myself have like, can't just go freely spend my money on the most sustainable products. Then I'm like, how about all these other people? But it was a really great conversation about, it has to be industry wide. It's like oh my God, collaboration over competition.
Got it.
But it's like how can we do that in every industry? You know, how can we get just this whole fucking nation to work better together? How can we
Yes.
provide like affordable, good, sustainable food to the masses?
Yeah.
Um,
Keep it local. Keep it
and
local. Keep it
yeah,
close.
I'm actually, so what I got out of it was a lot of those things. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do a blog about like sustainability at the consumer level and like what you can do this holiday season to like, because a lot of us, I feel like it's overwhelming and it's out of your reach. So like, what are the little things you can do as a consumer to make a little bit more of an effort? And that's like,
Yeah.
yeah, shop local.
And buy things that hopefully won't end up in the landfill as far as like being a plastic or something styrofoam, like buy
Yeah.
something that's like natural, like a plant, or
Yeah.
make things, which
Like a
who
toy made of
the
wood
F?
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
use
So
that
I've
would
actually,
biodegrade.
as I've learned more about sustainability over the last couple years being in like the industry that I'm in,
Uh-huh.
um, I have, because Jen, my sister-in-law, like when they first had Delia, and she, I mean, the things she liked to buy for her are nice, and I would just always
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, like that's so expensive for like a kid's item, and they're just gonna like grow out of it or play with it for like a week. But she does truly like make an effort to buy from like these companies that are making more of the sustainable like products. So I'm like, okay, well at least it's not just junk, you know, it's quality
Yeah.
product. These companies are putting a little more thought into how it's produced, and so I can appreciate that like a lot more. And
Yes.
again, I'm not at a place where I'm like above at all, like buying from a department store or like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Costco. And I wish I could be. I wish I could be. And that's why I wish there was a way that, you know, we could buy food like in bulk, or like I could go to the grocery store every week and buy the local food. But I've got a grocery bag today, you know, that cost me like $80.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, dude, that's gonna last me, yeah, a couple days. And when I go to Costco and spend $500, that lasts me like 2 months.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So $80 a week, like, I don't know.
Hmm. I
It's
got out of the
tough.
grocery store with $150 last night, which I feel is pretty good. I think that'll last
Yeah.
me, like, get me through the next week. Because I just, fresh produce, man, I have got to have it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
have got to have it.
And so you can't, I mean, if you can grow, awesome, but we are both in climates we can't grow year round.
Yeah.
Many people are. And you know, I have like a 2 month fucking grow period here, if that. So
Yeah.
yeah, greenhouse is like in my dreams so that I can grow year round for things like simple as greens like lettuce and fucking some salad mix at least.
Yeah. Plus, it's
But
just so much work. It takes up so much of your time.
yeah, and
Unless
resources.
you have a
If you don't
system
have
down.
fucking
Yes.
water, like yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's tough. And that's where it's like, yeah, if there could just be more people working together, more people like in the, you know, higher up places instead of
Yes.
still driven by this like capitalist, like make all the money you can, we want to rule the world. It's like, well, I would like
Big
to
oil.
see like more of my life happen healthily. Like
Yes.
I don't want to like just be like, oh, this isn't gonna affect me. Like this isn't gonna affect the world for another 100 years. It's like, no,
Yeah.
we've
It's
got to
happening
turn things
now.
around. And
It's been happening.
yeah. So part of
Ever?
that, like my idea for my blog, in this, it's like I feel conflicted in ways where it's like, oh, it feels like I'm just trying to get people to shop at like our stores, but it's like, no, like they're gonna buy stuff anyway. And I think it could really be some good tidbits that people in my community would think about of like, yes, shop local. And someone brought this up at the summit that I was at that I felt like a little like, that sounds kind of funny, where it's like buy more than one thing. And it's like, okay, if you're gonna go buy a new jacket that costs a couple $100, like buy more than one thing. What are you talking about? But the point of it more so is like, if you're gonna go buy one little item from the running store, the outdoor store, like you need a couple snacks for your next long run. but you're gonna drive to the store by yourself. Like, make that trip worth it. Like,
Yeah. And hopefully save you another trip in the future.
yeah.
I hear
Um,
that.
so like I get it, and I'm like trying to figure out like how can I word that without sounding like I'm just trying to sell more things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Make your
but
trip count, or like make your
yeah,
order online count.
yes. Yeah, so it's yeah, I did learn a lot. And it was cool, but yeah, it just gets overwhelming, and then there's times when I'm like, okay, well here I am just eating some, shit bananas because
Yeah.
they were the cheap ones.
Yeah.
Like fuck, what can I do? What can I
Yeah.
do? But
Plus
and I
inflation
snowmobile.
has been insane
Yes,
still. Like, holy crap. It's
I know.
wild.
Mm-hmm.
And also how wild how people like predicted this, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It is crazy. It is nuts out there. Oh, this doggy's just laying in the sunshine.
Oh.
So did you work today?
Yeah, I worked and then had to leave because Quality Burrito wasn't feeling so hot. And so,
Did you say quality burrito?
yeah, that's what I call them. That's what I call my son sometimes. That's his
That's
little nickname.
hilarious.
Because his initials are QB, and there's a restaurant downtown Olympia called Quality Burrito, and
That is
so
great. I
and
love
people
it.
called it QB, and so yeah, I call him my Quality Burrito.
I love it. I love it.
So yes, I picked up my Quality Burrito from school. Poor buddy, I feel so bad for him. And so um came home. My kitchen was an absolute disaster. Just like I've been cooking some chronic ass meals up in my kitchen, so it done got a little tore up. And I haven't been able to tend to it because I've been too busy in my Flavor Flav. You know how
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like cooking and then sometimes you do not? I
Yeah.
have been feeling it, which I'm glad because
You gotta roll with it
you
because
do. You
when
do.
I mean it's one of those things that's really hard to force. You're just gonna make shit food or you're not gonna cook. So it's like when you're feeling
Yes.
it, like go for it. I'm all in on and agree with like when you're feeling like cooking, cook it up.
Yes. Yes. I just made some broccoli cheddar soup, which I made it a little too thin, and Murray's really good at helping me fix my shit when it's like too
Because
thin
he's
or
a
not cooked.
chemist.
He really freaking is. I'm just like, you fix it. Because I added too much broth, but I wanted all the broth.
So what did you do to fix it?
He hasn't come home from work yet.
Oh, gotcha. I gotcha.
But I'm gonna make him fix it.
Is
And
that what?
then I have some peaches in my fridge that I need to use. So I think I might
Ooh.
make like a peach
Yeah, I was
cobbler.
gonna say peach pie or something.
Yes.
Yeah, I am thinking about getting my crock pot out of storage because I don't imagine a crock pot draws a lot of electricity. I pay attention because I have like this app for our Goal Zero power station.
Sweet. That's
I will
awesome.
look at it on my phone as I'm like running
Yeah,
electricity and see like how much, so like I know how much watts my coffee grinder uses or my
totally.
this or that. So
And what a
learning,
great thing to know just in general.
yeah, totally. Especially yes, exactly. So I'm imagining, yeah, crock pot, pretty low draw, and that would be nice to have up here because it would just be super easy then. Because just like at home in town, where I could throw stuff in, come home, and have a nice, like, chili
Yes.
or soup or pork shoulder or
Yeah.
something as we're
That's
getting
tough
into the crock
season.
pot season where you actually want like warm food. Just because in the summer, we just like don't really have a much of an appetite where we're like, oh yeah, I want something out of this hot dish.
Yeah.
So I'm excited it's getting to like that point and got to bring that up here because yeah, I don't foresee me getting in a lot of those. I feel like cooking spells given the
Yeah.
space that I have. So the crock pot I think would at least help a lot in doing that and getting some meal prep stuff going. Cause fuck, you can do a nice soup in like 4 hours where I could do
Yes.
that, put it in
100%.
containers, and then do something else.
Yeah, especially if you have a good cut of meat.
Yeah, so we have our Traeger up here too, and like we've plugged that thing in, and that doesn't even use that many watts. I was shocked. Like,
Yeah, that is very
I
surprising.
was like, oh, you guys, hush. Like, yeah, that only uses a couple 100 watts, which we have a big power station, so we can handle like 1,000 or probably more, but we only ever have like gone up to 1,000 at one time, like when the microwave runs for 30 seconds. But yeah, so those are my life updates. Nothing real new.
Yeah, which is kind of nice. I mean, no news is good news, right?
Oh, I paddled today on the east shore of Tahoe, which was my first time doing that in I think like 2 years. I don't think I did it at all last year. Um, and the east shore is just like it's like Caribbean clear blue water. There's just like gigantic boulders underneath, like 50-foot fucking long, and like boulders just like huge. So it's so cool. And we almost bailed and just stayed like right lakeside, like over the hill of Truckee, Kings Beach. And I was like, wait, because I was thinking it was still like an hour away. I'm just like, oh wait, no, it's like an hour kind of from Truckee. I'm like, from where we're at, it's only like 15 or 20 minutes. Like, fuck it, let's just go. I haven't been. And then so me and my friend Liz went, and we were also like, fuck it, let's get in. Like,
Yes.
it wasn't as cold as I thought it was gonna be.
Do
So
people in your area do the cold plunging?
yeah.
Nice.
Yep, there's people who love it. A lot of people talk about it. Actually, one of the new gyms in town has a like sauna and cold dunk tank.
Oh.
I wish I liked the people who own that gym, but I really don't. So I'm kind of like putting a stand against going to that
Yeah,
gym.
I hear you.
Even though I
hear
want
you.
a membership.
Yeah.
I don't. And that gym would be a little more convenient for me, but I
Sticking your ground, sis.
yeah. Like
Fuck those assholes.
Yeah. So it'd be nice. It's like right in the same area as the brewery that Andrew likes to go to also, where I feel like I'd be more tempted than to like if he's like, oh, I'm gonna have a beer, like, and we're both working, then I'd be like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the gym real quick and do like a quick 30-minute like workout or something, and then I'll meet you for a beer.
Yeah.
But like
Whatever.
I cannot give that monster money right now, but
Yeah.
maybe at some point we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would like to do that. I told him I want to turn one of our like troughs in that we had for our garden into like a cold dunk.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because our neighbor's been doing it because he is been having really bad back problems, and he feels like that's he had an epidural, and then now doing the cold plunges and sauna like
nice.
cold thing has been really helping him.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it when people have stories like that and it's actually real and you're like, oh, this is really real.
Same. And I love it when it's somebody that like Andrew is really like good friends with, to get him into like
be like, oh, so it's not just some motherfuckers saying some shit.
Yeah, not just some hippie shit. Like
woo-woo bullshit.
Yeah, like whenever his friends are like, oh, we're not drinking for like a month, or like we're, going off gluten. I'm like, yeah, see? Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
But he's not that impressionable, but it does make him think a little different when he hears it from someone besides me.
Right. Oh, so maybe it is real. I know.
Oh, look at my little guy I got at the store.
Oh, he's cute.
I saw little pumpkins and I was like, well, I don't really decorate for Halloween, but I do love little pumpkins and I never buy them. And then I saw this guy with a little painted face and a green and black witch hat, and I was like, oh my god, fuck it, I just have to have a little spirit in my house. Then I was thinking about leaving him in my truck, but
yeah,
I'll leave him in the house.
I like it.
Alrighty, well, I think that kind of wraps it up for this week, and we'll figure out when we can be back next. But I think for now we'll sign off, world.
Adios.
Bye, internet.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.